Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this AFK journey video. So in today's AFK journey video, we are going to talk about true damage. We're going to experiment whether or not true damage scales well into the end game of Dream Realm. So we are at endless mode for Snow Stomper and we are able to sort of see the differential between true damage from melee or magical damage from OD. So without further ado, we're going to go into battle. My current best damage is 26 billion. This is with the old Metacom setup. So right here we have Kruger, we have Shakir. So I don't know whether or not this is the best setup for this boss yet, but I'm using Evocation Spell because Evocation Spell gives a good deal of offensive buff while providing a little bit of shielding and a little bit of life drain for more sustain. So you could also experiment with Quick Wit Spell as well, although I don't think Quick Wit Spell benefits the team as much because for Quick Wit Spell, yes, it does give a lot of stats, but the physical defense down is not so impactful because OD is a magical attacker and melee becomes a true damage. So I would prefer Evocation Spell, which simply just buffs attack, crit, and then give more attack and haste for your unit. So this is the setup. So I'm gonna let the run go through and then we're gonna talk about the damage differential, and then we do some experimentation to see whether or not true damage is indeed back in the endless mode, whether or not true damage can finally fight with OD's magical damage in the late game. So that is something that we want to find out, and then maybe based on the findings we could probably craft up a new team setup to see whether or not we can find a better damage. Okay, so right here, as you guys can see, Shakir, Kruger, as well as our dear OD, they are in the front line. So OD, Kruger, and Shakir will be buffed by Lupin Aura. So one thing about the endless mode boss is that they hit really hard. So right there, without the damage reduction, without the protection of my frontliner, my OD standing in the front line got melted, unfortunately. So I probably won't be hitting my 26 billion damage cap, but this is just a showcase to show the damage differential. So OD died a little bit early there, unfortunately. Okay, so tad bit early. Usually he dies around the 18-second mark. Yeah, but he died a bit too early in this run. So his damage is a lot lower compared to melee. As you guys can see, the melee is doing a lot more damage, and my melee is actually a little bit weaker in terms of the charm side because I'm only at the epic tier for the charm, whereas my OD is currently at the legendary tier. So based off the charm, my OD is actually a lot better, but in terms of the tier, melee is Paragon 2 EX20, whereas OD is Paragon 1 EX15. So in terms of EX weapon and tier, I think melee is a little bit stronger, and melee also has a little buff from Kruger's initial physical defense down. So this is not really like a super fair comparison in terms of damage output, but you guys can see, right, melee is hitting a little bit harder, so we can see signs of true damage becoming better, at least moving into the endless mode. So next I'm gonna do the experimentation. So this is just to test like the different combos that we can get and see whether or not we can get good results. So because we kind of want to compare just true damage and magical damage, the only buff source that we should be using on the team is either an attack buff or just a very simple damage reduction, right? I mean, damage increase on the boss. So this will sort of make it fair for both sides because damage increase boosts both the magical side as well as the true damage side equally. So we're gonna put in Torrent, although Torrent sort of gets negated by our dear Reina over here. Let's see. I think I'll put in Corinne just to see whether or not Corinne actually does a lot more damage as well. And then for the very first unit, I'm actually in a dilemma in a sense. I don't know whether or not I should even use Reina because I think right now Torrent as a debuff unit actually hits pretty hard, and Torrent has an additional line of debuff which is the seasonal skill. So overall I think he might be a little bit better as a pure debuffer, but Reina's factional bonus is just so good that I think I probably want to keep Reina. I think to keep my team healthy, I'll probably put in Coco, right, just so that the ultimate can protect my whole team. So this one will be a more fair comparison in terms of true damage versus magical damage because okay, maybe I won't I won't buff up merely because Reyna's swap actually provides a little bit of attack buff on this one. So to make it fair for them, right, all the buffs are universal. We have a damage reduction from Reyna, okay, from the EX weapon skill, right? We have the attack buff from Coco's ultimate as well as damage reduction to protect the whole team. Other than that, there's no other additional source that will buff up either the damage side for magical damage versus true damage unfairly. So I guess this is, I'll say, a pretty fair experiment, bar the differences in stats and EX weapons. So without further ado, let's hit the battle button. Okay, we go at 2 times because I don't think the battle matter too much. I guess if one of the carries actually die first, then it does matter. But I think with Coco, with evocation spell, I think we should be able to survive quite well. Okay, Coco melted a little bit too early. Pretty unfortunate. Maybe I should have put Coco in front. maybe I should have put it in front. Okay, but anyway, we'll use this opportunity to see whether or not if the 2 carries survive, what's the damage difference. So we will be losing out a bit in terms of the damage reduction from Coco's ultimate because she got sniped off. So for endless mode, right, I will still be on my way to work out the meta team right now because for meta itself, right, the units or the team must be able to survive the hard hitting nature of the endless mode, because as you guys can see, the boss hits like a truck right here. So this snowball is an indication that Merely is hitting harder because the snowball targets the highest damage attacker. So let's take a look at the results and see the difference. Okay, so right here, Coco died a little bit early, but both Merely as well as Corinne, they're actually doing good amount of damage, right? Merely even overtaking OD in terms of maximum damage output. So this is not saying that OD is weaker, right? This is saying that I think in terms of just comparing true damage to magical damage, I think at least against Snow Stomper, true damage is a little bit better, right? I think if you build a team purely around the magical side, magical team might do a little bit better. So there's a lot of trial and error to be done. But based on this initial experiment, I think Corinne, Merely, they are pretty bad, right? At least for the endless mode. So let's continue. I will try out another team comp to see whether or not we can get better results. So I will be buffing up Merely with Reyna. I do think that OD is still really good in terms of damage. So I'll keep OD there. And then the last unit will probably be a frontliner. I'm thinking of Kruger, right? I'm also thinking about Brutus because Brutus has a physical attack up on the enemy. But I think Kruger's a little bit better because his shield makes him innately tanky. And then I'm going to put in Corinne because Shakir, yes, Shakir is pretty good. But now if I do send in Merely, my Merely is not going to stand in the front of the boss for too long. So I won't be able to fully benefit from Shakir. So I'll use Corinne instead because I think Corinne does quite a bit of damage. So without further ado, let's start the battle. Okay. So Kruger will buff up the initial burst of damage from Corinne as well as Merely, right, from the physical defense down. So we'll hit a little bit harder at the start, and then later on, once true damage from Merely sets in, then Merely will be the main damage source against this boss. Okay, so right there, I think one problem is whether or not I could actually clear the prison on Merely, because I don't know about Kruger's, I don't know about Corinne's AI, because sometimes I think Corinne just doesn't hit the ice prison. So Kruger will always go after the ice prison. So right here, Corinne is going after the ice prison, which is good. So this will help to kill the ice prison and keep our dear Merely alive for a little bit longer. Okay, so far so good. I don't think we are hitting our 26 build mark, unfortunately. So the earlier comp could be more optimal, right? With both Shakir as well as Kruger in the team. Okay, so I guess that's that. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for this. Just a short experimentation of the damage. So over here, Marilee's doing a lot more because right now she's buffed up by Reina, and she got the initial burst of physical damage from Kruger's debuff. So that's something to consider. In the next few days, I'll do more experimentation to see whether or not like what's the most meta team, right, based off the end game stuff, basically level 400 equipments as well as level 400 plus units. So that's it for this video. Just a simple PSA for those of you guys who have invested in your Marilee. She will come back to become more useful. So that's it. I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.